First time no beard since COVID. It looks weird. I have to get used to it. You probably as well. Feels fresh, like more air. It's really white underneath. Like I need some sunlight, and like it's springtime. I feel good. Done with like playing the piano, the guitar, singing a little. It's still like cringy as hell, but one day eventually. Today there's like one big main mission. My song Ashes like needs to be further mixed. I started already a little bit yesterday, didn't get really that far. It still doesn't sound as good as I think it could sound. It sounds fine, but there's like still this mission trying to get it up to the next level, like squeezing out the last 5%, which are usually like done in the mixing, which is very technical, sometimes really annoying, sometimes back and forth, but it is what it is. A song needs it to get finished. So let's do it. I finished. I can't believe it. Another song is done. Ashes is finished 100%. I'll play you a little more in the outro, but let's maybe like show you like just the individual tracks, because in the drop there are just like 4 or 5. It's a very simple, very basic song that took me the longest ever to make. I received the vocals over a year ago, and it was mainly due to me not finding the right style. I first had a draft with that plug that is now on again. In between I was like, the song, because the original is 105, then I speeded it up to 118, which didn't work with the vocal. It was too many words in too short amount of time. It sounded strange. Then changed it back to 105, didn't work. Then to 108, changed the style again, had like an ARP on top, didn't work. Back, forth, and eventually ended up with something that works, is very close to the original idea, and very, very minimal. And now you might think, listening to it, someone could come up with it within 5 minutes, and yes, I agree, but it took me this year. I mean, not full working on and off on the track, but that's just sometimes how it goes. You have to try out all of the possibilities, or as many as possible, to be sure as a producer that the one you got is the right one. Especially if you already have vocals, you need to make it just fit. And I think I found something that works. It's kind of cool, has like an acid-like bass line, nice kick, and that plug. It's kind of weird. It's not really pop, it's not really club, it's somewhere in between. But yeah, let me give you a tour of the tracks. So it's all audio, as I already explained yesterday. Like my computer couldn't handle it anymore, and it's for me to just separate. It forces me to finish. So I bounce it all out, so I can't change it anymore. Just the mixing. So we got a kick. A very weak kick, because that was the one that I used in the version where it didn't mix. Now, like just focusing on the mixing, I realized that's not going to work. So I put another kick underneath that became the new main kick. It's like nice, has like bottom end, tone, knock, click, but not too much. Clap and snare, very simple, with like a little hit in between to make it interesting, and the bass line carries the entire track. It has automation on it, the cutoff. It has bend on it, and I think it was a trillion patch, changed like a tiny bit in there, less effects. But it has this 303 kind of acid bassline vibe. Another plucky kind of bass, just always on the one to make it interesting. And the rest is then just like vocals, little vocal chops. And then the second half of the drop, we got the main melody, the main thing. And that's it. Very simple. Anyone can do it. But like getting there is the hard part. And I always have that. If I listen to other people's songs, I'm like, wow, that's so basic, so simple, but it's so cool. How did they make it? I think they made it through like doing a bunch of stuff that was weird, that was shit, filtering it down to the essential, and just leaving that. And then it sounds very pure, very fat, very good, but it takes a while. So don't be discouraged if your first idea doesn't work. Just like spend a lot of time with it over and over and over again, and eventually you'll have something that will hopefully work. Next up, I'm heading back home and I'm just sleeping. I'll take a nap. I didn't sleep this night, maybe 2 hours, because I was watching like tutorials on singing, drums and guitars and piano. Like I'm sucking in all of the knowledge I can. And then I came here in the morning and like did all of it for hours and hours, then mixed the song. Now I'm drained entirely. And if there's one thing I learned in the past 2 weeks, then it's that we humans usually do a lot and work a lot to fix things instead of taking all of that energy to fix ourselves and then be better at fixing everything else, because everything else is being fixed by us. And if we don't work, how can we fix other things? So it's like back to me doing stuff for me, improving me. More on that tomorrow. Also tomorrow, more gear. A lot more gear. It's been a couple of days. There's a lot of gear coming tomorrow. Maybe even the biggest delivery of gear I've ever received here in the studio. So definitely tune in.